Most companies are making the regular box PC cases, but this year Phanteks is thinking outside the box. And by thinking outside the box, I mean many boxes. Let's get into it. Straight away, as soon as we walk into the Phanteks booth, we see this beautiful case here. Phanteks is trying to approach case design differently. So usually companies, they have their regular box PC cases. We come in here, we can see that there are 4 boxes essentially on this one PC case. The whole idea behind this is they want to try and separate each compartment to separate all of the heat soaking that can happen with each compartment. So for example, we've got our power supply down the bottom, right? It's completely cut off from all of the other components, which means that it can completely dissipate all of that heat and not affect any of the other components. Then we've got the GPU chamber. The GPU chamber has intake down the bottom, brings in the air straight into the GPU, then dissipates out the top and out the sides. Now with this GPU chamber, there's also this little rubber insert. It goes up against the GPU, so none of that hot air circulates from the top down the bottom and then back into the fans. Really cool design. And then it just vents straight out the top. Now for the motherboard, it's got its own separate chamber as well. Then we've got the motherboard VRM here, which is being cooled by an included 120mm fan at the rear here, which really helps the motherboard VRM cooling. And they've actually done some testing on this. I've actually got a sign over here. You can see the differences in the temperatures here. So for the CPU testing here, we see almost a 2-degree improvement with this design. Now the GPU did go up slightly, but still a really good payoff to have both the RAM and the VRM seeing significant improvements. Or you can get the EX5 Max, which is this one here. It comes with the AIO and a 6-inch LCD screen, which actually connects to their NextLink app, so you can have display of temperature and things like that. And then we've got the EX6, which is this premium case here with CNC'd aluminium panels. This does not come with an AIO, but still does include the 120mm fan. And you can see up here, we've actually got the ability to mount our own AIOs if you already have one, which is absolutely great value. And then you can get this in the EX6 Max version, which essentially comes with an AIO cooler with a 10-inch screen, which features perforations around the edge. So there's more breathing for the motherboard, and the tubes, they don't route outside, they're all included inside the build. And the tubes themselves on the AIO, they come out at a 90-degree angle to make it easier to route out, whereas your traditional AIOs usually come straight out, which is why this exists if people want to use an existing AIO that they have on hand. GPU clearance wise, you can actually fit up to a 358mm GPU in here. It does accommodate for thick GPUs. However, this one is a 3.5 slot design, whereas if we move over to the EX6, this one's actually a 4.3 slot design. So you can fit those thicker GPUs inside of this case. You may be thinking, how do we go about building inside this case with all of these different panels? Is it builder friendly? This simply comes off by releasing one screw and then using a tab, and then you slide it this way, comes right off. The GPU is actually supported by this rubber gasket right here, which stops the air from recirculating back into the fans. So the GPU is not going to be taking in its hot air again. This is the rubber bit I was talking about before. Now, if we want to remove the glass, it's as simple as removing any piece of tempered glass. Simply pull from the top, and it comes out like so. You got these little tabs here that just clip in, just like your normal tempered glass panel. Then if you need more access down the bottom here, which you're going to need to screw in the bottom motherboard screws, if you have an ATX size motherboard, you simply pull on this and it removes like so. Then you've got access to these bottom slots here. Bring all your cables out and route them into the motherboard. This is the S25 fan that we were talking about before. It blows straight into the back of the motherboard and provides better cooling for the VRMs. And as you saw before, we had such a great improvement over here, 12 degrees on the VRMs. So that fan's really doing some work in this system. This case also has a support bracket, which is actually reinforced at the sides there. So what you can do is you screw it in here, but the newer graphics cards that have come out, they also have the screw holes on the side there, so you can line this up, screw it into the card. And if you are someone who actually moves your PC around a lot, it provides a lot more support for that GPU, so you don't have to be worried during shipping. Now, as we come around the rear, you can see that we've got our 360mm AIO mounting bracket here. We've also got our hard drive cage. Hard drive is on the inside and so is the SSD. And we've also got the NextLink hub, which fits right here, which actually comes with the EX6 Max version. And we've also got these awesome cable routing channels here. These are little clips that go on to help clean up the cable management and help guide the cables where you want them. So your CPU power, for example, you'd route them up through here. They help to hold that all in place. You got nothing interfering with the fan blades, and your 24 pin and that, you can route them through here, and the GPU power down there. This also acts to hide the power supply cables, which is a really good placement of the hard drive cage. Obviously, you've got access through here. Pricing wise, the EX Max is going to cost $329.99 US, which comes with the NextLink hub, the AIO cooler, and the 10-inch screen. This connects to the NextLink app and you can display all of your temperatures on there. We've also got the regular EX6, which will cost $159.99 US. And then we've got the EX5, which comes in at $109.99 US. Personally, I think this is going to be the crowd favorite. I think it offers so much more value. The cooler itself, the AIO, usually costs $80, but you're basically getting it for $50 when you buy the combo. So I think that the EX5 Plus, it's going to be a fan favorite, especially with the tempered glass panel here. You can view your GPU and you're still getting all of the RGB lighting. And they actually told me that this RGB lighting you can set up so that if you want to know, let's say power supply temperature, you can actually have this act as a temperature display, but you can also have the CPU lighting at the same time act as a temperature display up the top here. The customization is so good with the NextLink software. They've done a great job at implementing all of these hardware details inside that you can display with your lighting. I'm really liking this case, I really am. What do you guys think? Should we try a custom water-cooled build with one of these? Maybe we get the regular EX6 with the cutout glass and we'll see if we can get the tubes going all around the build and everything. I think that would be pretty cool, yeah. What do you guys think about this case? Let us know down in the comments below. This is their brand new XT-M5. Now they had an ITX version of this last Computex. This one here includes 4 S25 ARGB fans, so you've got 3 at the front, 1 at the back, but also we can mount a 360mm radiator up the top. We also mount 3 fans down the bottom. Now, they were telling me that it's not specifically designed to mount a radiator down the bottom. However, if you wanted to, and I mean, I am a case modder, I would be doing it. You can remove this bottom panel here and fit a 360mm radiator down the bottom. However, if you put the fans in first, you could always put the radiator on top of the fans and make that work. So, you know, there's always options there, but if you're someone who likes to see the RGB and you're gonna want the fans on top, there are ways to make it work. Just remove this panel down the bottom. Now, we can fit our full ATX size motherboards in there. The power supply location is at this top right-hand corner. Got a nice tempered glass panel, and there's breathing all around this case. But if we go to the next version, it's basically the twin brother, but we now have a tempered glass panel at the front here. So this still includes your S25 fans, 4 of them, but now we have it pre-installed down the bottom. This is a reverse blade, bringing fresh air up and out the top of the build. We still have the built-in GPU support bracket. We still have the same mounting location for the power supply. Still have the same specs for motherboard as well, but this time we've just got the tempered glass version. A lot of people, they love the tempered glass versions because you can view more of your PC from different angles. That brings me to this next version here, which is the exact same as this case, but now we also get an included LCD display. This does connect to the NextLink software, so you can put all of your temperature displays and your GIFs, images, things like that on here to customize it to how you want it. If you're going for a particular theme, probably a good option for you. Phanteks have their brand new line of fans that have just come out. They've got the X30, so they've got them in a 120, 240, and 360 360mm variant. The beauty about these is the fan blades themselves are not completely lit up. So if you're someone who doesn't want RGB completely in your face when you're in those intense gaming sessions and you don't want to be blinded while you're trying to take a headshot from peeking around a pole, probably the fan's for you. They've got this nice subtle RGB lighting around the outside, which is controlled with their NextLink software. You can also use the NextLink software to display them with different temperature settings for like your GPU and your CPU. So, you know, if your CPU's running hot, it might be filling it out a bit more, but if it's cooler, maybe a little subtle, you know? But what I like about this is when you get to the 240 and 360mm versions, you only have the one cable coming out instead of a clutter of cables because there's 3 fans. So that's really going to help clean up the cable management because it's in one frame. Also, you don't need to worry about installing like 12 different screws. There's only 4 that are included, and they come with these covers, which makes it even cleaner. I think they've done such a great job. And they've also got a new AIO that's come out. Again, comes with the X30 360mm fans, but now we've got it in an AIO version with the LCD display, where again, you can use the NextLink software to display all of the different temperatures and stats of your computer. Now, if we go down to these fans here, these are the S25s that we were just telling you about in the XT V5 and M5 cases. These are the more budget versions compared to these, so they're not going to cost as much, but you still only got the one set of cables coming out. But this time, if you're after RGB lighting, well, these would be the ones for you. These are the reverse blades. You can get them in the standard orientation as well, 240, 360, 120mm versions. Definitely worth checking out if you want to save a little more money compared to the other variants that they have on display. Now, Phanteks have asked me to actually show you guys this EX prototype here. It doesn't really have an official naming yet, but they wanted to take the same concept idea as the EX5 and EX6 and bring something new to the market. So we still have the separated compartments here. So you've got the GPU down the bottom there, so it's going to be taking in fresh air, much like every other single case. But now we've got the power supply up the top. We've got a nice curved tempered glass there, and we've still got this separated area for the AIO. So they're after feedback, guys. What do you think they could do with this? How could they improve on it? What elements could they implement to make this your dream case? Let us know in the comments, guys, and thanks for watching.